She threw out a teaser.
Yes, we have a teaser, folks. Here, how you doing? This is the Playground Experience live Q&A. Here I have my co-host April Williams and Kathy D. All right, then. So we're just talking just about everything and anything that's coming up. We really, it look like the focus is about as far as how these shifts are happening. We got this eclipse that's here that's going on. If you want to, we always start off with the energy that's bringing up all this kind of stuff. And I won't even say shadow. It's just like really dealing with a lot of things of helping us. They always say it's darkest before the dawn. So it's some dark things that are we're handling and seeing that has been darkness that has happened throughout our thinking, our philosophy, our ideologies of things, and we're now seeing that hey, in order for us to move into this age of enlightenment, we've got to shave off all of that old stuff that don't no longer serves anymore. Some of that caveman, me caveman, me man, you woman. Let's get kind of thought process, or I'm this, or like Michael Jackson, I'm this race and you're this race, and that's what we're talking about. Understanding that we've seen it, and I always remember that when I taught social science, where they're saying it was on the YouTube, and I think it's still up there, where we're going to become one model race, where it just blend, or it might not even come to that, where we just don't really mention that. That's funny. I had read an article that they were saying that when we're talking about it, even in teaching and education, when we're looking at statistics, and a lot of times they heavily do push us to say when we look at the data, they're saying, okay, how the females fare? How did the males fare? Okay, now how did the African Americans or this race, this males and that? And they said they were going to move away from that and just say, just become a non-titled thing where you just look at data and just look at data just to look at period how they perform, not with the titles as well, and taking that off. So that was interesting. We talked about that now, but I forgot about this morning. It just clicked where they were saying they was going to take off male or female off the gender stuff. So you just look at and see the race, how people are performing that thing. I'll try to look and see, but they had a nice title to it as well. And so it's interesting where we're going. So you all could go on, and I'm gonna try to look up what they exactly called it. I think it might have been what April said earlier too, as well.
Now I'm like, what were we talking about? Because you know how flow be like that, right? So we mentioned a little bit about, you know, one, understanding the nature of stress and anxiety, and then also like the spiritual implications, like what's happening when we're dealing with all of these things and what it does to the physical body, but what it does to the energetic body as well. Because a lot of people are just, they're feeling like, what? I don't know how to describe it because it's not a word. It's more like a full on action. What? We feel like, huh? Like I'm going where? Which direction?
It's almost like a sound. It's not even a word. It's a huh?
Yes. And spiritually, that just means you're in a limbo space, but you're not actually in limbo. And I think that people are having a hard time grasping on the fact that we're in this full alchemical ether. So they're searching for old patterning, and then they're integrating new things that they've learned, but they aren't giving enough time for everything to kind of amalgamate and become something. Right? It's not really gelling because you're not allowing it to gel before you start putting more energy into it. And so we implore you to sit with your sacred self and just allow things to arise naturally. You don't actually have to push or guess or move to the next space. It's more like, hey, this is it's going to bring my inner joy, my inner child some joy. Let's go with that. Hey, I'm actually cultivating love. I'm letting go of old paradigms. I can actually sit in a space where I'm not having to think or having to survive or run for my life. I'm learning to be calm and be in the present moment. And I can see a lot more positive manifestation and clearing out of the old muck of, that we're swimming out of the muddy water and we're now into like some really fresh, clear, new, but the emotions are new. And that's the part that for me, I'm a little scary, right? Because Leo's got their heart on their sleeve and it's like, it could get broken. Someone could poke it. I don't know. But I'm going to allow myself to be, instead of anxious, excited, right? So psychologically, Kathy B, like a lot of these emotions and stuff that come up, they're in similar parts of the brain, correct? Like,
Right.
So can you tell us like what might be some parallel experiential emotions? Like I know anxiety, typically, because we've grown up with so much anxiety, we expect it to be anxiety, but it can actually be an excitement or anticipation for something new.
Okay.
Right. And what we would consider a negative emotion isn't negative. That's the first thing we have to realize, that there aren't good and bad. It's when we dwell on them. That's when we give them that. And like you said, anxiety can be excitement. Anger is actually fear.
So like
then,
control expanded upon that, like the anger and then the needing to control. How can we release
if
that?
they a bullying, well, if they've they've been in some kind of, and it usually comes from like any kind of bullying or withholding kind of situation in a punishment kind of way, like you and unfortunately my generation and other generations, you went to bed without dinner if you'd been bad. So food was withheld from you. One of your things you need to have, it was withheld from you. So to control that anger that lashed out, you're not going to do this to me again. And so what we need to do is, one, find the root of emotions. If it's anxiety, if it's fear, if it's abandonment, can also be anger. Abandonment can also be when you have that kind of you only live once kind of attitude, but abandonment in the form of abandonment of who cares, we're just going to live it up, because they're not going to let anything get stolen away. They're not going to plan on it, and they're not going to set their hopes on it because it might not happen. And but we have to sit with it. Unfortunately, we have to kind of sit with that emotion and see where it's coming from. And if you can't, you need to go to some type of practitioner that can. And if you're like, therapy's not for me, I don't want to do it, well then go see like April, or somebody like that, or myself, or anybody that does Reiki and energy healing. All three of us do a form of that, and you can do that. And a lot of times we can help you tap into what you're feeling. A lot of times journaling, but just simple questions you're asking. Why do you feel this way? This is the basic bone technique most counselors use. Why do you think you feel that way? When was the first time you felt this way? And who made you, or what situation made you feel that way? So you take what you're feeling now, and then you look back and go, first time I felt this was, and this is who or how or when. And it's seeing April take that nice deep breath and definitely meditate on it. When did I first see this? And just relax. Let your body will tell you, your subconscious will tell you. Watch for, April's always telling you, watch for pains in your body. Where are you stiff? Where is there discomfort? Those mean so many things. And you just really need to reach. And we're to this point now, especially with the eclipse. I mean, we got the lunar eclipse, and in December we got a solar eclipse. We've got moons. We've got the end of the year. We got portals. We got things going on. And then the one I just learned about yesterday, I about fell over, was learn where your Pluto is, because there's a star. I don't know what it is, but it's a little stinker, and it works with Lilith. And so, like, if your Pluto is like in your 3rd house, you're really going to have it rough. Now, mine happened to be in my 10th house. And what that meant was I was bullied as a child, and that right now I was going to be doing a lot of, fact finding. I was going to be getting to the root of things. I was like, I'm done. I'm digging in. I don't care how bad it is, but I'm digging in, and I'm going to pull up these answers, these hidden things. I'm done with the lies. I'm done with everything hidden. So that's also going on along with the eclipse and the full moon. So yay!
You can just type in free natal chart.
Yep.
Into whatever search engine you use, free natal chart. You're going to need your location and time of birth.
And if you don't know your time of birth, they'll usually have a box there to check. If you check that, they won't be able to tell you where your Pluto is. So, but if you put 12 noon in, it will give you a fairly accurate one because Pluto is so slow moving. So right now, for most of us, our Plutos are, what is it? They said Virgo, Libra, Capricorn, Sagittarius. I can't remember the other one, but we're all kind of in that area just from the years we were born because Pluto does move so slowly. So in that instance, putting in 12 noon, if you don't know what time you were born, will work.
It's just inaccurate for like moon signs because moon signs
right, yeah, because they move fast.
Quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you use a app, I know K Moon had really sworn by, and I do have that on there called Time Passages, and get the app on your phone. They're really accurate in getting everything too as well.
Yeah, there are a couple really good apps out there that the one, let me see, the one that I had sent to me was kind of neat. Let me find it. If you have an Apple phone, you have to look it up. It's not in the Apple store for some reason, whatever, but it's called CO-star.
Oh, you sent that to me.
Let me see if I can turn it. Yeah, this is what it looks like, CoStar. And it gives you, it's pretty up to date. It gives you your chart every day. And then it tells you where you're struggling. It's kind of funny. It's like it's 68 degrees and mostly cloudy in your area today at a glance. So you get the weather and, your horoscope.
Right.
But it goes into a lot of it, tells you do's and don'ts, like do rigor, collecting checklists. Don't gloss over things, pretentious things and forms. Stay away from those today. But it's pretty neat. And it'll tell you how long those cycles are lasting. But let me see if I can find that one so I know what it's called with the.
Yeah, because I said, I find mine. My Pluto's in 4th house and it's in Libra. So that's partnerships too as well. So 4th house. Yeah, and the one that you says about that, it tells you about your chart, your daily horoscopes and transits and your secondary progressions and all that stuff that you have as well. You can also compare other people too. That's an extra little fee though.
Yeah.
In your chart. I forgot. That's where that money comes from. Yeah. I was like, where did this come from each month? But I see why. Yeah, and I did find an article. They were saying it's called the schools could count non-binary students. So they want to make sure they get to a point where they have a non-binary option for male and female data categories in order to ensure that data captures accurate and inclusive information about all students' identities and student experiences. So that's what we're kind of moving into and getting pushed to as well. That the one we had today, the eclipse is in Taurus, and that's interesting that when I'm looking at my cheat sheet, it pretty much says the same thing what April was saying earlier about being more into self, really looking and seeing about giving yourself like a pass. I know I heard somebody say today about the if Taurus is a lover of as much equally as they go after having fun. and they're passionate about that. Taurus are also the same equally as for rest. So they're happy about saying, ooh, I'm on Netflix and chill tonight. I got my popcorn, I got my wine. I done made a big deal. I done told everybody don't call me. And they're the same way like it is about them going out. That's the way how we're feeling about right now. She's saying that we should get as far as is she here all the way? We should get about us as far as what we're feeling, because it's a lot of things going on. I know they said that the light not being so short because again they're being blocked because of the moon and those things. And so a lot of us, I think, be feeling so in tune with the sun and the human resonance. I can tell that the sun, I'm missing some kind of energy. It's out there, but it's missing something. It's not shining as bright. So when I look at the Taurus here, they're saying Taurus are cautious. So you might feel a little cautious about things. I think Abel talked about that earlier. Conventional. What we're saying right now is this eclipse in our thoughts of being very conventional, helping us to kind of break out of that too as well. Determined, efficient, industrious, introvert. I would say about a lot of going within, loving, material, patient. She said to have patience with yourself. So you're getting pushed by that Taurus energy to do that. Persistent, possessive, reliable, sensual. I've seen somebody talk about really getting into your sensual side and really getting in touch with that right now during these times with these energies. And warm. The shadow is jealousy, lazy, self-indulgent, and stubborn. I know somebody was saying during these times since you're on yourself and Netflix and chilling or doing whatever's for you, you kind of like watch it that you don't get overindulgent into it. Like, I want that comfort. I know April always talk about the comfort food. I want that comfort food, and you're overdoing it. Like, okay, well, tomorrow I want some comfort food too, and the next day I want some comfort food, and before you know it, you didn't kind of bloat your diet or your
That was for somebody.
right. I got to loosen up my pants there. So this kind of, especially with the holidays coming, so just kind of watch it, which way you're doing to kind of help you to feel like I feel good doing this, but you're not overindulging into that too as well. I kind of feel that way too, as far as like this introverted wanting to really go within. That's what they say. You got to watch it being too introspective, getting a little too deep on self. Got to find balance about the two things as well. So this is what the energies we're dealing with. I know somebody said it's up until the 22nd.
And
These
when we're looking at, sorry,
go on.
but it's like when we're looking at the energies of Gemini, right? Because the Gemini full moon, and then you have this whole lunar eclipse, right? And they're talking about Taurus, but Taurus is those tactile things, the food, the luxury for sure, and enjoyment. So Gemini has the twin aspect.
Right.
So you can be like really good about it or really crazy about it. So slipping into addiction, like
Right.
escapism and stuff like that, like she's talking about, is it's relatively easy to do. And one of those things is actually talking too much
That's
in
the
your
thing.
own head, in yourself,
Yeah,
about
that's
like
the difference.
negativity. It's a big thing, but it's a great time to start implementing those day-to-day things in a routine that changes your whole life overall. Like if you're going to really start doing the meditation every day, or a little bit of physical activity every day, as long as it's not something where you're overly taxing yourself, Taurus will help push you through that. And this whole Scorpio season and this clearing into the next stage, right? It's really letting some really gnarly stuff die out and letting us face some really ugly truths. And so what I was told for this whole next year, because it's going, and Gemini is going to the North Node, right? It's going to be all all the stuff you didn't want anyone to know about or talk about is going to come out relatively soon. So clean up your own act, or spirit will clean it up for you, and then spill the tea everywhere. Because like, you know, we've got a lot of people transitioning and they're like, oh snap, this happened and that happened, and that's why things are coming to the surface so quickly, especially like crimes against humanity and innocence and feminine energy. That's why we're focusing on all these things, and we're no longer just taking it as just this one person is this victim of this one crime. We're now looking at it as a systemic issue.
Right.
So people are getting shocked, like, how could this? And I want to blame that person. But then you're like, wait a minute. If this is what's happening to this one person, and the statistics are that it's happening to every third person's getting beat around here. You know what I mean? And, you know, I've had some incidences come up where, you know, shadow stuff that I didn't really want to look at, but I had to, but it was easy enough for me to correct, was brought to my face, and I was actually appreciative of the person or people who brought it to me, because I was like, "You're right. I got to face this. You're right. I got to look this in the face and be realistic about it." I've been kind of tiptoeing, waiting to not have to make a decision, and it's like, "Oh no, the universe is pushing this. If you don't go for it and say this now, it's going to get a hell of a lot hairier. It's going to become a whole lot worse, right?" It's like you can't drink a little bit every day and think you're going to be okay. You need to at least give your body some detox time. You
Mhm.
know, uh, you can't sit here and preach infidelity is wrong when you're cheating on your spouse. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to come out. The tea is going to be spilt at this point, which is good.
I don't know why I'm seeing the Bounty commercial. Remember, the old lady swiping, talking about, "Ooh, I like him," and then the tea fall spills over on the Bounty commercial. She's like, "No!" That's what I feel like when the tea gets spilled. Somebody like, "No, I didn't want that to come out." Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of picturing there with that. But you are right, it is like that. I was surprised, with the verdict that came out here currently, and then they was like, they were saying, how is that going to say for down the road? So, like if somebody comes in there vigilant and they're coming into a town and say, I'm coming in to protect this town or whatever like that. What does it say? Does it mean everybody could go in there another town carrying a gun, doing X, Y, and Z? And I was surprised that it's a shame that things have now a lot of things. That's my why things have come here lately. That has made us come to the point where now we're more open, and now seeing, we used to have like this tunnel vision and more with the blinders on, but now seeing that, hey, what affects me can affect my neighbor, and what affects my neighbor can affect my community, and what can affect my community can affect the world, and so it's becoming much a larger scope. And I was very proud to hear that today when I heard, and I was saying, okay, now you're getting it. And although it's from another race, now you're saying, okay, it's not when the verdict comes out, that's it, that's all. But then seeing how, again, how that affects to say, hey, if you're doing this, it has repercussions later on. And I think I'm glad to see that we're getting to that larger scope of more of a sense of a community, more of a village. In some ways, we're not all the way there, but that's like one little small step for mankind. Like for the space that is all coming together there. So I'm in agreement. I had noticed that too. I was like, okay, that's a little different lingo. That's a different language that we're using here. Maybe some of this new age is kind of slowly creeping in, or like they say, the dimensions of it layering on one on the another, that we see we're getting pushed to that understanding about this oneness that we've been talking about in the spiritual. I always think about when they're saying in business. You know, you got the trickle up theory or you got the trickle down theory. And so it's interesting from the spiritual aspect how it's getting trickled down into what I call it the regular secular or the regular Joes are not getting that too as well.
I can see the stubbornness coming out as well, like Kathy D was talking about earlier. Like there's some serious stubborn energy, like especially when you're hearing people defend like really horrible, outdated concepts.
Yeah.
Like it's just like wow, and it's interesting because it triggers other people into am I racist? Am I prejudiced? Am I that ignorant? Right? So they start to question more their own belief systems. So those people who are, you know, flag shipping and holding the whole space of being extremely like absolute in being a horrible person, like persons who it's not that you need to 100% agree with oneness, right? But
Mm,
you do, in order to fit into the new paradigm and flow with it, you do have to want what is kind of best for everyone
right.
overall.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of spiritual intervention coming in with um, um, holding certain holding certain lines. So we recently had, you know, like what was it? If only I can remember because I had a beach day and it was Son's last day of school, so I'm like legit exhausted. Let me see if I can find the info. Okay. So OSHA, right? Do you guys know who OSHA is? Yes, it's like a health authority, and
Mm-hmm.
they're saying that it's unconstitutional for what's happening globally, right?
Right.
Which means that energetically and spiritually, there are the checks are already in balance. We have already won. The question is who's going to live in fear and fight for fear, or who's going to live in oneness and fight for oneness. And right now, we're fighting for our humanity and our spiritual beingness. So they have this. It's interesting that they're attempting to use science to make a split, a dichotomy between real and unreal,
Mm-hmm.
which we know that science is limited in its scope. And so the spiritual stuff that's happening right now and the amount of people transitioning and reaching back to their loved ones and connecting them with the great beyond, right? There's this new learning, this new template that's being awakened within the DNA set of everyone on earth, right? That's the whole ascension. It's not just, oh, some of us get to go and some of us don't. It's just we're all going. It's just how are you fighting? So it's like you either what was the analogy? It looks like a stream, right? So you're floating down the stream, or you can hold onto a rock and fight the stream,
Mm-hmm.
or you can hold on to it. And some rocks, they can get worn down eventually by the stream. And so I think part of this is the wearing down, like how the ocean wears down rock and it becomes sand, or coral and it becomes sand. This is kind of like all these old fixtures that never really worked, that are making everything uncomfortable, that are kind of damming up the flow of consciousness of humanity, are breaking down, and they're doing huge shifts at once.
Mm-hmm.
And it's attempting to hold on, right? It's attempting to make it work, but it's like, no, you're just going to succumb to what the universe wants for all of us. And the universe wants for all of us has nothing to do with human intention. It's all about that earth plane, right? And that's the beauty of us being here on this plane at this time, is we are able to share our experiences and our viewpoints and our uniqueness, but we're all coming from that one. Have you ever heard that analogy that we are the divine acknowledging itself? And so I want to loop this back to what we were talking about before we came on, which was they're talking about celebration of the trans community and going non-binary and allowing for more non-binary, right? But I also saw some things before this month began, which is interesting that they're attempting to drown it out by pushing the trans agenda, but then using it. I don't mean it to sound so menacing by saying trans agenda, but by re-expanding into it, they're actually ignoring the fact that it's supposed to be Indigenous Peoples Month. And so it's really rare and in between that you see things about the indigenous peoples as much as you do about like trans. And I'm not really into BIPOC because of how it talks about people, but um but how they're getting into the sexuality versus the nature, right? Because even within indigenous communities, they had um, non-binary constructs already in them. So if we were to go back to more indigenous styles, you would understand that there is already space there for them. Now let's just go back to the nature of it. Protecting the children, period. All of them,
Mm-hmm.
period. Protecting the women, period. Giving space for the men, period, to be all the aspects. They don't have to just be masculine or hold this. They're not a rock. I mean, not the Freaky Friday edition, not that we don't want them to be, but they're not just they have emotions. They're allowed to have these feelings. They're allowed to shed and become or be particular or take their time, and not all stuck in the root and second chakra.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm getting off my pedestal now, or my soapbox. Just pass the
Well,
mic.
and you know
Kathy.
the funny thing with that is it's not just affecting us with our chakras and all of this change that's coming on. It's affecting the animals as well. If you have pets, and I know Divine Sunshine does too, and I know she can tell. It's like small children, especially as a teacher. A full moon the day before we got out for Thanksgiving break, pray for every teacher you knew, because they were interesting today, to say the least. But it happens with animals too, like and they feel that and they love that positive energy. And as we raise our vibration, because we know that we're changing and we're letting the DNA change and we're not fighting it, we're just going with it. And I saw it with my dog. Of course, I do Reiki, and she's got to be touching me. She's the funniest thing. She like scoots over until she can be like right next to me, and then boom, the head comes on me, or a paw, or she'll scoot her butt up so she's touching me, just to kind of get that energy. Dog, 16-year-old poodle, up I don't know how many times a night, 2-3 times a night, never slept through the night. And we did like 2 sessions of Reiki on her, and the dog has slept through the night since July. I think I'm right on that run, right, Tammy? She's still sleeping through the night. I mean, so they are progressing with this as well. But I did find the information on that one star I was trying to tell you about. It's called the Demon Star. Algon, Algol, and it's called the Demon Star. And for that reason, it's parallel to Medusa, and it's inconsistent energy. And so the lunar eclipse brings in endings. The star brings about
You cut out for me. Dang it.
I can't say it. Hello. Okay. When everything's going into why do I do that? Do you do that too, Divine, reading to your class and you look at a word and then all of a sudden can't pronounce it?
Yeah.
Obliteration. There we go. But massive fallout but it's got good intentions behind this. But so it could be, and when I read that and heard that, immediately I thought and saw the Tower card. And I know, some of the readers have been pulling Tower cards. We've been seeing that. But it's massive fallout with good intention and opportunity to rebuild. And it's not the train at the end of the tunnel. While we're in Scorpio, remember Scorpio, secrets are unearthed, and Libra helps balance of equal energy. So there's a good exchange there. But between the lunar eclipse and Pluto's placement. So, and this kind of drags on a little bit because Pluto is a slow moving planet, like we talked about. So if you have been trying to manifest something specific and it's not been moving, kind of check out where your Pluto placement is, because these blockages can be literally wiped out all at once. So it's one of those, like, be careful what you wish for, because it all might just come in like a flow. And we also were kind of talking about, blockages being removed, some things that, we've been working on kind of together with some Reiki and stuff like that, just to kind of see what all that was going on. But so it says Mars and the demon star lead us to a goal unlike one we have ever imagined. It'll be even better. So this demon star comes in to kind of shake things up and kind of be a terror, like that little kid in the restaurant that's running around,
It's your ass.
swinging the napkin that's where got the lemon in it, and he's running around, and that little kid, and you're like, but he's a little demon, but he then, you wind up laughing at him when you needed a really good laugh. So, it did wind up working for the good, and you smelled lemony fresh after they slung all. So, but so that's something else we have going on outside of. We've got the lunar, and then, we have the portal, and then just generally every universe and source, powers that be, whatever you want to refer to it, God is pushing for us to get through. And especially those of us that, maybe have been stubborn and been like, all right, there's enough of this. Come on, keep moving. It's like you can see Archangel Raphael with like two little green lights, like on the airport. He's like looking at the crowd. We're walking, keep moving. You can take pictures at the end of the tour. What happened?
I said, I'm looking like,
I thought you.
Oh, come on. Oh, okay. We're walking for no. Look over there.
No. Everybody see, and this is where we have the buddy system and our buddy in. And so when they're like squirrel, you have to be like, come on, we're walking.
I just put in the chat.
What is it like at Disney? You'll see the big thing down. And Raphael's got the one crowd. We're walking. Gabriel's coming up. We have to keep moving. There's another tour behind us.
That's right. Yeah,
they're moving us along.
Yeah.
I just put a link or a website in the chat that will tell you what all of the houses mean. So if you got your natal chart and you want to know what properties the houses that you're in, that your Pluto is in, or your Mars or your Mercury or whatever, this will help you. So I just put a little thing from astrostyle.com about the different houses.
Okay. I have to look on the other thing on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put it up. It's weird. I put it on the.
Well, they also say that, like, here, the first, but now I lost it. Hold on. I had the houses and what it meant with that star.
Yeah, mine is.
But yeah.
Oh, that's
actually
cool.
It's on.
Yeah, maybe you could put that on the kind when you the link.
Yeah, because it's a TikTok link and
Oh, good Lord! TikTok links now. One more thing I have to learn, Lord. It's okay because the star is here to help me.
Yes.
What's the name of that star again?
Algeron? It is Algol, Algol. I put an N in it, so Algol.
Okay, spell it again.
Algol.
Algol. That's funny. Your Pluto sits in the 8th. Okay, so the 8th house is the house of merging, sex, intimacy, shared finances, inheritance, taxes, loans, assets, property, joint ventures, goals, mystery, partners, resources. So if you've been having difficulty with that makes sense, right? But it's a clearing out.
Yeah, well, she says the 4th house is the most brutal she feels.
Oh, that could be very harsh.
That is
It
Yeah.
says home, roots, family, self-care, emotions, foundation, mother, children, women, feminine.
Oh God. And mine's is in 4th.
And it's Cancer, so it's probably really super emotional, yeah. Like it's ruled by Cancer.
That means my rising is in Cancer, so that'll be affecting that. So yeah, mine's is Pluto in the 4th house. This me.
Mine's in the 6th house.
Mm-hmm.
Health, fitness systems, analytical nature, pets, work habits, organization. I can't even say it.
Organization.
Sense of usefulness and service given. So if you're waiting on one of my packages, I swear to you, it's not just me. It's just kind of happening right now. I
Yeah,
had this happen with one of my clients. I had it happen with one of my clients, and we looked up the tracking number, and it says it's still in Honolulu somehow. And I mailed it in September. Lord help us. So these, hopefully she comes back soon and helps us. For the love of God, you just introduced a new demon star to us. The Death Star. The Death Star. You just how are you gonna drop that on us, Padawan, and disappear? You're supposed to keep teaching.
Son of a demon.
She was cutting out too. I was like, Lord, she's telling us the meaning of life.
Right. I got the secrets.
Unscramble her frequency. Well, that and they have a storm coming close in Florida, right? Is that what's
they
kind of
are?
going on?
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Well, somebody posted something on
yeah, I know
on potential hurricane.
Here she is. Okay.
Aloha, beautiful. Tell us more about Algol, since we just freaked out a little bit while you were away.
And so for whatever reason, because every time I started to look that up, it cut me out. But I did put the link in the comments for each one of the houses, because once you find your house, then use that link and listen to her and look it up, because it there were a lot of things that hit. Mine's in the 3rd house, so like I said, mine was about I'd probably been bullied as a child, and so now I'm digging for truth. My DMs is in the 10th house. There's the 6th house is needing to be seen.
Where did you put it?
In the chat, in the
No lo veo. I don't see it. I don't see it. We need this information.
I know. That's why I'm like, where do I put it? Oh, you know what? It's amazing if you hit send. I did. No, I did. And it didn't show up. Let me do it.
Please wait for this hold music. What did you say? When did you say your Pluto house was in the 10th? I wonder if it says
no, that's the
texting.
DMs. Yeah.
Oh, where's yours though? I'll read.
Mine's in the 3rd.
Oh, the mind, thinking, communication, siblings, social activity, interests, neighbors, early education.
Yeah, so that's what they're saying, that I was probably bullied.
Interesting.
Uh-oh.
Well.
Oh, yeah. No, don't call no emergency medical.
Well, okay, so you're saying that so I just kind of want to expand on this, because I love learning about these kind of things, especially when there's new like stars that we're talking about, and it's not like Nabrubu or anything, but so this it shows you where you might have had some difficulties, or things would have kind of been put against you.
Right. And it kind of touches on some past life stuff. And if you missed the thing with Divine Sunshine and Stephanie and Bonita the other night, you need to go back, because they talked about some really neat things with past lives.
Oh, cool.
And what all is going on with that. So
and that's on your channel?
It's on Divine Unisouls.
I don't know why I didn't get notified.
I know.
You guys had a lot of trouble getting it up too, and that's the minute I heard that, I thought, this is gonna be good.
Don't tell people about me not being able to get it up though. No, I'm just kidding. Gotta put something.
I'm also typing the link, so
But y'all in the chat or y'all watching, you can see the Astro style, right? From me, Golden Life Unlimited. Can you see that in the
Did
chat?
it show up over on our side?
No, it's
Can
not
it
showing
what?
up.
See, they're not showing up for some reason. Our links.
I don't
Like,
know
can you
why.
see it in the chat? Okay, I see thank you from her, but I don't see what your stuff is. I saw your stuff earlier. I don't know how come I cannot. But it doesn't
They
show
don't
up
want
in
it out.
our you know how it is. They want to slow actual information, but you can get a whole lot of misinformation if you'd like. I promise I'll go with your propaganda machine as long as it gets me laid. Just kidding. Freaky Friday edition. Everybody in here talking about twin flames. And I'm like, can somebody light my fire? You know what I'm saying? A lot of my house are cusps. Oh, what the cusp? No, I'm just kidding. Sounds dramatic.
Okay, so I have retyped it. Let's see if it'll take it now.
And voila. C'est magnifique.
Okay, and I'm gonna put
no,
yes,
I say
and
nothing.
I'm gonna put the you see nothing?
I don't. But do you guys see the one I put it in? Maybe they don't put it on for some reason.
See,
I can see mine.
Why am I?
I can see the link I put in.
I can see my other one.
You can see it, but you can't
Just,
see it. Wait, sorry. I don't mean to like
I
be
see it.
confusing.
It's right under the one that's like
so
Mimi says. A lot of my houses are cusps, and then mine's right underneath it, and then it's
only you can see it.
Can anybody see it? I mean, we can see it. We can't see it on our side chat in.
I can't see it on my side, but I can see my own website. Kathy D, if you scroll up a little bit, Mimi says my Pluto sits in the 8th. Can you see a website above that?
No.
Man, there's okay. This is. I wonder what that's about. Maybe that's something to do with. That's frustrating. Okay.
Well, I'm going to put the woman's name in here, and they're up toward the top, and so you can look up her channel.
I don't think they want us to
put
websites.
It's from 2 days ago.
I'm trying to see I don't remember me putting that down there, but it is a thing that you do that because sometimes they have those spam people be talking about come to this.
Oh, to
yeah,
the
why
porno
can they do all of that stuff? Yeah.
How come they can get full on porn, but I can't get anything about a star chart? Hello.
Sorry, that might be it.
Okay, so I'm going to put her name in here.
And put it in the comments. Did you put it in the
comments? Her name is let's put it my meta. My metaphysical.
Can you see that one? Nope, you can't. I made jokes. I put like a fake something that might be listed in porn before it, so I thought maybe it would go. It did not.
Yeah, but you put a link to what's that one phone site and all,
That's really interesting that you can't do that. Well, we all learned today when you're doing it live, which is probably the worst time to troubleshoot. You can't put a website. You can't put it out there.
Okay, so let's see now if we can see that.
Yeah,
or they just
can see that.
Left.
I can see that.
Okay, so
my metaphysical
the woman's
maven.
Physical maven, and it was 2 days ago. And
okay,
here we'll even.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Okay, and that's what she looks like.
Okay.
That's what the video looks like. So.
Okay. Okay.
Minus us in the bottom corner, but.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this one is going to be harder to do because I did it through it's a whole website, so it's not like just a person. I basically used the Astro Twins and found out about what the 12 houses of the zodiac mean. Because if you can look up what the 12 houses mean, you have all these different placements in different houses. So it helps you start to get
Mhm.
more of a cohesive understanding of how the chart flows with you and what your opposite is and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Here, I can real quick. This is kind of a whoops. Let me see if I can get it to show up. There we go. And that's how my chart is. Okay,
Natal
those are my
chart.
signs. It shows me what's going on. Yeah, my natal chart and in what house. The numbers to the side, to the right hand side, are the houses that it's in and what's there. So
I was like, let me flip it. You got,
oh,
yeah, okay, you got her? Okay.
there we go.
I got you. Look at we got it. We're a team.
There we go. Yeah, so that's how that works. So that's what April's talking about when she's saying, in our houses and things like that. So yeah, it'll tell you your
It'll look like
house
a
and what's there.
and when you see your natal chart, it looks typically like a circle. So all the
Mm-hmm.
astrological charts look like a circle.
They
Oh,
do.
that's
This
a
is
little
this
weird.
is the flat one. Oh, I was tall and skinny for a moment. I like that.
Yes.
Could see half my face. Here, you want it back?
See now, wait. Let me move this. Well, see, she moved us. I was going to move in, and then you could have moved in. See, all right, you come half in. You got to line up here. Hold on.
Let me get further away so I don't look like I'm as
I
big as a
can't
house.
do
Let's be about the same size.
They go to dot.
it. Okay, now line up with your nose.
Oh.
Wait, line up with my nose?
Line up your half with my your half with my
Oh.
half.
Oh.
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 We're Geminis. Geminis. Let me go back further. There we go. That now my head's about the same size.
There you go. Put it there. Put it again.
Wait, I got it.
There you go. Ooh.
That's trippy. We look like the same. Well, no, we look weird. I'm not gonna lie.
But we do have a few of the same features, like a nose and a mouth.
True.
And this is what happens when technology goes down and you leave the three of us unsupervised.
It's not my
I
fault.
want one of those shirts.
The
If you
moon
guys
was
haven't
full.
seen them, I want one. Yeah, it's not my fault. The moon was full and I was left unsupervised.
There was a full blood lunar eclipse and I was left unsupervised.
Actually, that DM told me that today. You were left unsupervised. That's what happened with the eclipse. So
I can take that in so many kinky directions. Thank you, Freaky Friday.
Really freaky.
So, if you loved this episode of troubleshooting and you need help, we offer a package.
If you need technology troubleshooting, you now know not to call the three of us, but yeah, but they're really and truly coming back into what all is going on in the atmosphere, in our lives, in the higher realms. I mean, they're talking about now, 5D is just kind of going to be an everyday kind of occurrence thing. We're moving to higher realms are coming in. More of our gifts are coming online. So if you start, and this was just my experience and everybody has it differently. But Claire Audio, if you start having that come on, it's usually in your own voice at first.
Uh-huh.
And then they kind of let the actual voice come through, because if not, you'd probably be sitting in a corner, rocking back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So, just start paying attention to those kind of things. If that's
creepy, man.
Yeah, if that's one of the gifts that are coming on, don't be alarmed when someone yells out your name in the middle of the night.
It's really freaky.
I've woken up to my name being called out. Yeah, the DM's name being called out. And literally you do the whole jump thing.
The extra creepy is like the starting, because sometimes they do a whisper, like a sensual, like, and they start that can get really intense, like in terms of your feelings of security and safety and reality. You are not crazy. It's actually happening. and just know that it's a safe progression, and you can ask for confirmation if these types of things start to happen to you and you're feeling overwhelmed and kind of confused. Ask for
Yeah.
confirmation of your request. Like, I want to see a yellow jacket if this is actually happening or something, or I want to see a number sequence or something. And then
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
something freaky happened about a number sequencing, huh?
Well,
Go
the
for it.
numbers have been, Benita has had the numbers are crazy. And then the numbers have been coming in crazy to me again after I told them, stop, no more. I want to see triple numbers. And if that's a message from the DM, unless it's an emergency, stop with all this. I'm doing way too much and I'm too old for this. I'm not doing it. So we've got those kind of things going on too. So, and if you're clairvisual, is that right? Did I say that one right? I always get one of them wrong. But so you're seeing things, take your time with those and really kind of, let it flow, because there's something that you're being told, and it might not be the exact thing. And understand it might not be for you. So you just have to, because when these gifts start coming in, a lot of times, there's been times we've all gotten things for each other.
Right.
Just wording. And, so just be mindful of some of these things that are coming in. Tammy mentions down here, and this actually happened to us last night. She says, when you're talking to your sister and her voice completely changes. We were talking to DM and I, and a conversation we'd had. And every time I would go to talk about what we had said, my voice completely changed, she said. So I don't know. And then I kept telling her, I said, well, I kind of recognized it. I kind of felt it. And I was like, well, it's almost like, to me, it's like our voices are merging. So I don't know exactly what that meant, but so yeah. So yeah, Mimi, that's what that means. It was just, I'd be talking and all of a sudden it was like,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can pick up an accent. You'll start like, you'll have a different cadence, like a different speed and tempo. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that's happening. And the thing is, it's about where they are in their emotions when these things happen, because people can become possessed by energetics without being conscious of it, especially if they're in a heightened state of emotions. And at any given point, like when you're having an argument with somebody or something, and you're like, how did I even start yelling? Why did that happen? That's because you can get possessed. And so it will override your system when you're in a state of about to build trauma. And it comes as a coping mechanism where you kind of leave your body. But if you're calm in a situation that's usually high tense, you're going to start to find yourself calmer when you have these clairaudient or visual or omniscient type of experiences where you're just knowing things. And then you're going to start to establish trust with yourself, and it becomes you get more and more confirmations along the way. So just kind of, I highly suggest looking with the confirmations and not always just going with whatever's going, because not everything is a good thing for you to get taken over by the way.
Well, and also when you meditate, as these gifts come on, some of your meditations will change. You might not find somebody that can visualize things, and all of a sudden you're starting to get little pictures, or you're not usually hearing things, and then all of a sudden, like, a voice will come through and they're asking questions or talking about past life, and you'll, like April said, you'll hear a dialect or something's going, it's going to trigger. Or the newest one for me, yay fun, aren't I lucky, is, what is it, clairsentient. So as I meditate, depending on what the person that I am in contact with telepathically doing, I smell it. It's wonderful. Yes. Last time I meditated, it's raw chicken. And I was like, oh, yuck. That was the one smell that like killed me when I was pregnant. but I know exactly why I smelled raw chicken. But yeah, so, but yeah. See, Tammy said it happened several times. I mean, all I could figure was just, our energies merging, as because it was just, I was actually in a really good mood. I was in a high vibrational state. I was calm. I was grounded. And she said my voice kept changing.
And it's not always, it's not necessarily a negative thing, but it can't, but it's cool when somebody points it out for you so that you can notice when it's happening. Because, like when I use that example of being highly triggered and, starting to yell at someone and you're like, where are these things even coming from? I'm not even you're swept in a wave of something. That's completely different than being in control and saying, oh, this is happening. And it's cool because you can start to, oh, she said, tell about clearing your snakes. I want to know about clearing the snakes. Go ahead, Kathy D.
It was as I send Reiki, like I think I send Reiki to the whole state of Indiana, but as I was doing my normal rounds, and I visualize her and I'm sending the energy, and all of a sudden Michael and Raphael were also there in front of me with her. And I then focused back on Tammy. They said, just hold Reiki on her. We'll take care of the rest. And all of a sudden I could see all of her energetic cords. And she had, like I was telling her, she had a huge one like in her armpit. But as Michael severed them with his sword, Raphael removed, the end of it and then packed it with the love and light. But these cords literally had like heads. They were like snakes or like serpents. And so as they were doing it, the one question I had to both of them were, they're not connected to her husband. They're not connected to her son. They're not any of her good cords. And they go, no, these are all just energy draining cords. These are the ones that she needs to get her energy back. And there were in wild places. I mean, just in lined, I mean, like almost like fringe on a jacket under her arm.
Oh, wow.
Her back, she had a huge one right in her heart chakra. And so it was pretty intense. And then the next day I actually saw my own cords, and they came in and cleared those. So these things are happening. They're, we've been told for months now to pull our energy back, pull your energy back, reclaim your energy, call it back in. You've left it everywhere. It's like trash. You just kind of, it's scattered everywhere. Or sock. Actually, it's best socks. That one missing sock, you're calling in the mate to your sock. And they're everywhere. And but yeah, so I had mine. And then when I sent Reiki to the DM, I saw his and I saw Tammy's. And so we cleared those out. But yeah, what's that? That gave me goosebumps in a very uncomfortable image. Yeah. And they're green. They're, it's almost like a chameleon head, if you can imagine. Yeah. It reminds me of the, afterwards, what I got, the vision I got to try to explain it was, it's like the plant from Little Shop of Horrors, Feed Me Seymour. But they're just cords. So we see, like, if you can imagine from like wrist up, like you can't see this. This is like what I would see wiggling in her body. And then as Michael would sever it and it would back out, then this head would come out. And that's what Raphael would finish removing and packing. So, and as he pulled it out, it would then disappear and dissipate, pack the opening with love and light to replace where that had been, so it didn't go back in, to heal that and pack it.
That goes back to what April always said in her theory, that we can't just cut the cords. You got to retract them, get it out of there.
And heal it.
Said that. Right. And heal it. That's another new aspect to it too.
Well, April, you had usually said a lot of that about we had to find out what was causing or where the cord came from so we could heal it. So maybe it's that we're moving along in our process that we've healed a lot where they can then come in and help us remove and pack.
Yeah, because I know from the talk from Benita, they were talking about cords. Cords. So they talk about the cords. I was like, okay, that ain't my forte, but I'll say about the cords.
Well, I tried to want to do a balance, right, between masculine and feminine behaviors, right? So like there's definitely a boundary with it. I think at this point we don't actually have to fully, depends on our age, our and our mental patterning if we need to go and trace it.
Okay.
Because if you're younger, you can just let shit go. When you're older, you have to like kind of go through the foreplay of releasing the story and
That is not
and
foreplay.
relearning. Well, you know, I'm trying to make it as soft and as gentle so the information will go in.
Yeah, like screwing a cactus. Thank you. Yes, it's lovely.
But it's really interesting because once you find out where the lack is, the vacuum that keeps sucking in energy that's similar, you can actually kind of refill it with its opposite. So it starts to attract opposite, but it's not fully comfortable because you're used to the patterning of the old little sucker left, right? But now you're like, I'm setting up a new way. So now I have to keep refilling it. So if it's something like a negative self-thought or talk or something, I'm too fat. Well, then you say, well, no, I'm just right. I'm exactly the way I'm supposed to be. Every part of me is lovable, you know. And every time that comes back with the I'm too fat, no, you're absolutely exactly the way you need to be. And you're holding on. And if I feel like I'm holding on to extra fat, maybe it's because I feel like I need protection. So why do I feel like I need protection? So you come at it from all these different angles because the old pattern is so used to being there, that old sucker is so used that you have to like nip it at every bud and fill in every little crack where like that negative seat can seep back in.
Okay.
Because they'll do it. They'll quickly take it away from us, the angels, but we have to keep it in that space where it actually stays filled with the light and the energy that we want to cultivate. When that does take practice.
Yeah, and they're sitting there, they're asking to help us. They're just, and it's going to get to the point where they're not allowed to encroach upon us. They can't just come in and be like, sit down, get out of the way, we got to do this. But they're getting right there where they're kind of like standing right next to us, like, hi.
They'll do it for kids. They'll do it for kids, especially if the parents are willing to help solidify the clearing of the generational illness or dis-ease. They will clear it quickly for the child, but the parent will still have to do the work, which is part of it, right? You know, like, how do you keep your child from having low self-esteem? You reinforce their own self-worth, and you go through different practices than the ones you went through. So you're learning and creating new space for your child while also clearing and healing that space for yourself. So
yeah. And so if you feel a tickle, if your nose is itching a lot, it's probably that angel, you know, taking and bumping his wing right there, like, hi, I'm here. Hello. Hi. It's like that. I don't remember if you guys, I've never really watched the show Family Guy, but I've seen the ad for it. And little Stewie comes in and his mom's laying there on, I think it was the bed or something. And he's like, Mom, mommy, 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 mom, 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 ma, Lois, and she jumps, you know. So the angels are kind of doing that. Hey, hello, I'm here. You know, we don't want to get to the point where they have to scream at us that they're here.
Well, that's what the whole it's not irritating. So, it's just like distracting. The amount of synchronicities and like angel numbers are out there. It's like, okay, I got a 777 and an 888 and a 999.
And they're playful.
Yes, they are very fun. Everything is super lighthearted. So if you're ever feeling super butthurt, that's a childhood wound.
Yeah, they're fun and they're playful, and that's why I can just like see just like one white feather. Like the wing is literally here, and you just see that feather. Or just like maybe moving the air around your nose like a little kid. I'm not touching you, you know. So yeah, that's what we're getting, a lot of those things.
Well, for
And
me, the angels feel more like a touch or like a presence. So like
mhm,
something's touching my arm. And for me, my nose is usually heart healing and opening and different things like that. And so that's what I've typically had in my experience. But everybody's experience is different. So tell us what it's like for you maybe next week. What does it feel like when you're being communicated with by your spirit guides? And can you tell the difference between your spirit guides and angels and that kind of stuff? That'll really help us kind of be able to have this conversation with more people, because as we're not doing this alone, we're doing this together. But by you holding firm in your own truth and your own knowing, you give space for being able to actually help others. Because if as crazy as you feel, guaranteed the person who doesn't normally have this type of experience is going to feel even crazier, right? Like, hey, I feel like my grandfather's with me right now. And it's like,
Mhm.
they really are. And it's okay. And I'm so
mhm,
glad that you came to me to share that with me, because I totally agree with you and feel you and ask for confirmation. And do you want to be comforted? Is there anything you have to say to that person or forgive that person? Just lend them into a little bit of their own self healing and coaching and guidance through that process, because
mhm.
that's what we're here to do. We're here to help and bring up each other.
Yeah, and don't be alarmed if there was a certain smell that you associated with them. You know, if there was a certain flower that was in, like, say, your grandmother's garden that you loved, or a cologne, or pipe tobacco. Pipe tobacco is a really big one. We hear a lot of people talk about that. But in talking about these things, the other thing we need to do is, and if you feel, never, tell anybody you have to do this. This is, if you're at a state where you feel comfortable with it. Like, there's something that I found out today, and I never realized it until it being brought to the forefront, being that whenever I hear a live play, like a high school band, a college band, all those instruments, and I'm like, well, it must be just the vibration. There must be just something, I don't know. But it is pride that wells up in me. And I just start to cry. And I don't know why. So that's got to be a past life. And so
Mhm.
I know I need to go and look into that, because it's also children singing. It's something with music, and especially when it's live. Live theater will do it to me. But, and there's something, and it's just like, it's almost like a joy.
So what came up right now when you're talking is there's a lot of stuff that we weren't allowed to do and be and say and show and all these things when we were children. So often when we see someone having an experience of being completely present and putting themselves out 100% while being accepted by ourselves, we we want that for ourselves as well. And so the part of us that didn't get that can often start leaking as well.
Mhm.
Because if there's something that is past life, it is also in your own current existent lifetime.
Yes.
And even if you're carrying it in your DNA, which is a whole nother setup that I'm getting to in my book, I'm actually editing those chapters right now. But when you have, when something has been experienced by an ancestor and it's awakened them, and then it kind of keeps repeating in the multiple lifetimes because it becomes a larger and larger epigenetic signature. So these emotions, they come through as not only your dissatisfaction or your disconnect from being able to show yourself 150%. It's your mother not being able to do that. It's your father not being able to do that. It's your grandparents not being able to do that. It's your great grandparents, and so on and so forth. Just those pieces that are like, yes, part of me, because we are all one still, even though we're having multiple dimensions of experience. Yes, part of me is getting acknowledged. Yes, part of me is so sweet and so pure and able to share. And so it's a very it's a huge It's a huge thing, especially when you let yourself touch it, because a lot of times we suppress that feeling, and then we'll go out of body, and this is like XYZ possession happens. Sometimes we snap at other people, like, that's why I feel for people who are being triggered, because they are brought to another time where a space is, you had trauma, you get to heal that trauma. Instead, they jump out of body, become possessed in a way, and then they're acting off the cup, perpetuating something they don't actually want to perpetuate. And it's sad. It's sad, but it's also healing and enlightening, because if that person's aware of it, they can work themselves out of it, just like you worked yourselves out of being so easily triggered, and so on and so forth. So what'd she say there?
And well, Mimi says that that's like me and how I can't stop crying at certain Chinese dramas, especially the stories with kings and their concubines and how one is treated like dirt. So, and that could be that could go so many ways. It could be the way that the woman's treated in a class system, and I mean there's so many ways, but the fact that you have pinpointed that with the Chinese dramas, there's definitely something.
I'm gonna go with the eighth house, merging sex, intimacy, shared finances, inheritances, taxes, loans, assets, property, joint ventures, goals, mystery, partners, resources. Because she said she's in the eighth house, her Pluto. That's interesting. That's interesting. All of
that, and those are, and when we get these things, and this trigger, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know why, because I'm enjoying it. Like we had a pep rally today, and so I'm enjoying watching it. I know the kids, I know the band instructor, and I mean, they've really worked hard, and the band sounds really good. And, so at first I'm thinking, well, is it just pride welling up? And so I was grading papers, and it was just the sound of them playing, even just outside my room. And it was like tears. And so I was just like, make it clear, make it plain. Let me know, why do I keep getting this? Why have I gotten this all my life? And, it was past life. It was, and it didn't go much further other than, you need to look into. So, and always, anything you get, always ask for, the angels that are working on your behalf, the ones that work in love and light. Ask, it never hurts to throw that out whenever you're asking for any kind of help, to always ask for those that are, in the love and light, working with the love and light, working with the higher source, working on your behalf, on your twins' behalf, on your union's behalf, working for you. Because unfortunately, there's energy out there that is working against us. And we can't ignore it. We can't, because we have to be mindful of it.
I'm a big believer or knower of the as within, so without, right? So the more we acknowledge what is working against us, the more we should be seeing what we have been limiting ourselves in within us, right? And so the more you free that, the more you free the hold of the thing that you feel is against you. But it does take foreplay. That's why I call it foreplay, even though sometimes it could be like you're in junior high again and you're getting kicked in the shin over and over again because the welts show how much you like each other when you were little kids. I mean, it was just an awkward way of doing it. But
no, that was snapping your bra strap.
No, I don't even remember that. They wouldn't dare. I was large enough to hurt somebody.
See,
I was a gentle giant.
Yeah, see, I was short. I'm only 5'1" 3/4", and as I've been told by the DM, I probably haven't grown since kindergarten.
I look so tall when I see you guys, because you guys are about the same height, right?
Yeah.
I think I think Divine Sunshine is actually taller than I am.
She's like 5'3".
No, I'm
5'3".
Oh, 5'2".
Oh, you're 5. So
she must have been wearing.
So she's got a fourth of an inch on me.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it depends on what convenience store we're going out of on how tall we are. If we had somebody short putting up the sticker, I can almost be 5'5",
Right.
but
There you go. There you go.
yeah. So, yeah, it's
5'9".
it's just how we.
That's why I wear my weight so well. I look like an Amazon. But you know who's a real Amazon? Who's got it going on? She doesn't go by it anymore. Ethereal Sorceress. She doesn't go by that anymore. She goes by Infinite Sorceress now, I think.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. 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 That's a tall glass of water right there.
Oh, she is. She's got to be 6 feet easy.
She's
Or
the
Mimi's
one who does
5'6",
the modeling.
so I'd have to look up to you too. Yeah.
Yeah, but big sis. Like who did
but
well, see, I'm the shortest one in my family. So, well, other than Helen. No, she's 5 feet.
Oh, my baby woke up, so we'll see how this goes. I think I gotta peace out pretty soon. Hi, Pippa.
Okay, we can wrap up. We can wrap up because the baby told me several times.
Yeah, we can because we've kind of said everything we need to. Unless anybody has any questions.
Anybody got questions? April got me. Yeah, she get April gets you a lot. That's my mouth. I did not fart.
Oh.
I did not fart. I didn't fart that time. All right. Okay. Anything big happening that anybody should know about that's through the community? Anything big?
I'm going to be doing pre-sales of my book pretty soon. And my book will be coming out next month.
Okay. All right.
Those are a wonderful Black Friday gift. So they might be a little bit later than Black Friday, but wonderful for the holiday season.
Definitely.
Sometimes I think some of these like really great things should be New Year's presents.
That's that is true to help you to transfer over. So go to madeforthisgoldenlife.com if you're interested in getting doing the pre or sale or pre-order of the book. Is there anything going on with you? Where are you? Way down here. There you go. I gotta move this stuff around. Okay, anything happen with you, Cassie?
Well, I've got my site up on the Fervor, and but they're still waiting to approve my tax number. So I'm not live yet, but as soon as I'm live, I'll send that to you to put it up
on the community tab.
So yeah, so what it is it's just like basic Reiki, kind of like a just clearing and wherever it's needed to go. The second level, they have a basic and then they have a standard and then they have the bonus. And the standard is Reiki, kind of a personal request, what you need, you feel you need help with. And then the last one is Reiki and hypnotherapy together. So
gotcha. Okay. All right.
That's what's going on right now.
Head on over there to Pineapple Fish Life Coaching. That's at her Gmail, but I didn't have the site. Okay. Head over there to get information. Here we go. And then if you want one-on-one, and then you go to pineapplefishlifecoaching.com to get that good old info right there too as well. With me, I am doing on the 12/12, I'm giving a free course called the 7 Deadly Sins of Twin Flames. So that's going to be introductory to that one. It's going to be a 7 class sessions of where we're looking at each one of the deadly sins. Each one, the first one is lust, which is the freebie, which is really the most all of us kind of run into that issue, and it's with a twin flame twist instead of looking at, and it's not about sin, it's more so about what things are stopping and blocking us in order for us to be able to transcend and go to the next level when we're talking about spiritually. So I'm doing that. I think that goes all the way into January something. Is it the 20th? Yeah, January 20th is the last class session. So that's just $77 before the first class. And then after the class starts, it'll be $124 for the first start. So that's the introductory thing. So I will do that on 12/12 at 6 p.m. Central Time on Divine Unisouls 11 because I changed the name. 11 said make it more balanced as well. So I'll be over there too as well. And you can always hit me up for readings. Some people have wanted their love letters. I guess it's at the end of the year. Want to see what the DM is thinking about them. I still do those. That's been kind of popping up. So whatever's popular, whatever you need me to look into, I have no problem looking into it for you. So, or if you want to do the past life thing too as well that we talked about, please check out the video with Benita. She's the one that took the head of that. I just went there along for a ride. Excellent, all good, juicy information that's in there as well. Spirit was really into that. A lot of stuff was stopping it from getting uploaded. A lot of stuff. We know when that happens, that means that is got the real tea. Talk about the tea spilled. Real tea being spilled from the source and the guides on that one. So please make sure you check out on that. And if you're interested in looking at past lives, like she said, the importance of that we talked about, you can always get a session with me at Ashanti Wellness Center.com as well. Where is that? That's way down here at the bottom too as well, where I have past life regression sessions too. All right, then make sure that you click like, share, and subscribe to this channel as well, so you can see when we go live. Notification. Hit my Divine Unisouls 11 because even when we go live, people say they still ain't getting it. So look either way to see about Fridays that we're going. All right then. So let's get us on out of here. Yes, April. Get us out of here. You're at the bottom.
Again.
Be back again.
Stay golden. Do see, hear me, and that sound.
Don't do that. That's scaring me. You know what it is. That's all right. And you know you were made for this golden life. All right, Kathy P, let's roll.
What just happened to our comments?
Oh. What were in our comments?
Did you see that? They all just went blank and then all just came back.
Oh,
they did. It was just their names, like not their circles. It was just their names. Everything went blank.
Wow.
And then it just all came back. Okay. So on that note, empty all the virtual sand out of your socks and shoes. Make sure that you are getting your own bucket and sand toys to take home. Please clean up the playground of all your virtual juice boxes and snack wrappers. And we will see you again on the playground real soon. Wishing you the best life ever. Bye.
The lights even went out. They closed the light on the studio, y'all. As always, they have lived to stay motivated, stay extended. Now to stay. Now we're going.
Well, and then you froze, and I'm like, what?
And we're going for real this time. All right, then, people. See you next time on the playground.